Hey, what's up folks, how's it going? This is ROG. Hope you guys are all doing well, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best portable gaming systems that are currently available. Now, 2018 wasn't the most exciting year for portable gaming, but there's still some compelling options out there, and we want to share some of those with you guys right now. Firstly, there was a big push of gaming branded smartphones, things like the Razer Phone 2 and the Asus ROG Phone. Now, in my opinion, I think the ROG is probably the best gaming specific smartphone you can get. It has an overclocked CPU and GPU, so it'll provide a little faster performance, and it does have a 90 Hz refresh rate, which is not as good as the 120 Hz panel that was on the Razer Phone 2, but still better than the standard 60 Hz that you got on every other smartphone. Additionally, with the wide range of accessories available for the ROG phone, you can really cater it for a living room experience or a on-the-go experience. Now, a couple of weeks back, we tested out the Twin View dock, which is that dual screen configuration for the ROG phone, and although it's a neat idea and certainly cool for multitasking and things like that, it didn't really add too much to the gaming experience due to the fact that there's no real games that really benefit the secondary screen at this point. But the one thing that does make a huge difference in terms of your gaming experience is the GameVice attachment, which we didn't have at the time, but we've been testing out recently. And with this thing, it really transforms the ROG phone into a truly awesome mobile gaming platform, mainly due to the fact that you have the full array of controls that you would find in a true console grade controller, but you have a button remapping system that's built into the UI and runs on top of whatever games you want to play, and you can remap virtually any kind of touch based command onto one of the physical buttons, and the actual button remapping system again runs on top of the UI, so it's nothing that the developer can actively block, unlike a plugin like Octopus, which a lot of people use to hook up their PS4 controllers with their Android device and play games like PUBG, which consequently PUBG has blocked, because again you have to launch into the application and then launch into that specific game. So that's something that the developers can block, versus at this point it's quite difficult to block the GameVice specific button remapping software, since that's again running on top of the operating system that's custom configured for the ROG phone. Now, the controller is hardwired via the USB connection, and there's virtually no lag between the controls and what you see on screen, which is definitely pretty awesome. And certainly this is going to give a huge advantage if you're playing against people with a touchscreen, so it's kind of unethical at that point. But at the end of the day, unlike a lot of the ROG accessories, the GameVice is a must-have, and I wish it was just included with the phone itself, since it makes a whole lot of sense from a gaming perspective. And for me personally, my favorite applications for the ROG phone with the GameVice definitely has to be the Steam Link capabilities, where you can hook it up to your full-on gaming PC, have access to all the games on your Steam library, and play remotely pretty seamlessly without any hitches. So that's been really fun, and I'm super enjoying that. The downside is the fact that you're going to have to pay about $900 for the phone and about $90 for the GameVice, so just under $1,000 for the setup. But keep in mind, you're also getting a fairly capable smartphone in addition to all the gaming capabilities. Now next, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Now, side by side the ROG phone with the GameVice, you can definitely see some similarities. In fact, you wouldn't be alone in thinking that, since back in 2017, GameVice actually sued Nintendo for infringing on their copyright designs with their Joy-Cons, and you can certainly see where they're coming from. Eventually that lawsuit got dropped, but the similarities kind of end there, because I think the Switch is probably the best standalone portable gaming console that's currently available. And although Microsoft and Sony have the bigger and more diverse game library, I still think that there's gaming titles that are out there that are still generating a lot of interest. Just take a look at the launch of the new Smash Brothers Ultimate, how successful that was. But more importantly, I think the Switch was the first fully fledged gaming console to successfully transition from the TV experience to the mobile experience fairly seamlessly without any inherent compromises. Now, even though the Switch is basically a small little tablet, it still has a fairly powerful NVIDIA Tegra processor that drives 1080p resolutions at around the 40 to 60 FPS, which isn't tremendously good in 2018 going into 2019, but I guess that was relatively passable for back in 2017 when this thing was first launched. And ultimately, Nintendo's goal, both from a hardware and software perspective, is not to push the envelope when it comes to graphical performance, to go for ultra realism. Their goal is centered around to make the most engaging gaming experience possible in order to attract the biggest, widest audience. Furthermore, one can also argue that that the Switch is probably the most versatile of the current generation consoles available right now. There's several different configurations and gaming setups that you can have with it, whether that's connected to an external display, using the tablet as a standalone display with the Joy-Cons disconnected for single player or multiplayer mode, or having the Joy-Cons connected to the tablet for the ultimate portable gaming experience. Now, after about a year's of usage, we definitely encountered some major faults regarding the build quality of the Switch. Firstly, the kickstand at the back is super flimsy and very easy to break off. People have also had issues with sticky buttons and triggers, even though that they've regularly cleaned their Switch. And with this specific model, we've encountered some issues with the analog thumbsticks. More specifically, the left thumbsticks drifts down a little bit, so playing any kind of first-person perspective-based games is going to be super difficult. And even though we've cleaned the thumbsticks quite thoroughly, this is just simply a wear and tear issue that Nintendo should have kind of dealt with, but we're now past the warranty, unfortunately. Now, this is kind of interesting because after years of using the 2DS and 3DS XLs on a quite extensive basis, they've never encountered such frequent build quality issues compared to the Switch, which brings us to the 2DS and 3DS XLs. After years upon dominance, you could see why these consoles have still remained relevant in the mobile gaming space. And although the 3D part of the 3D XL has kind of lost its initial novelty, but there's still tons of great quality games out there and a good selection of third-party apps and a solid social platform that made the 3DS XL outlast things like the Sony PS Vita and countless other mobile gaming competitors. Now, eventually Nintendo will probably phase out the DS lineup of products and replace it with the next generation of a Switch console, which will definitely be a sad day, and I wish Nintendo for the next generation of the Switch will upgrade the build quality and kind of learn from what they did with the 3DS XL, which was again built like a tank and held up greatly upon years and years, which is not to be said with the Switch. And plus with the secondary display, it actually utilizes those displays in an important facet that adds to the gaming experience, unlike the twin view dock setup that we found on the Asus ROG phone. Now, last but not least, I just want to end this video on a fun note. I've been testing out this $20 handheld gaming system. It's 8-bit, has 168 classic games pre-installed. It only costs $20. It's obviously a clone of the original Game Boy, which was the grandfather of all the mobile gaming systems out there. Now, online you can find a whole bunch of variants of these handheld systems. They usually all have the same internal hardware and then have some sort of shell that's reminiscent of a classic handheld console, whether that's a PSP, DS, or Game Boy or something like that. So there's definitely a lot out there, but they're cool, and again, $20, you can't complain. You can load your own ROMs in there, and pretty much most of your NES games will work on here. Some SNES games, a lot of the early Mario games are on here, as well as Ninja Turtles, Contra, as well as Donkey Kong are some of my favorite titles. You have a built-in lithium polymer battery, and you're getting around 6 hours of gameplay, which isn't too bad. You can also connect this thing to your TV if you want to play on a bigger screen. But besides that, guys, that's really it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I certainly think there's some great possibilities for mobile gaming coming into 2019, and definitely love to hear your thoughts on what you could think has the best options out there for playing games on the go. So definitely let me know, and we'll see you later. Take care.